a lot from conservatives about how social programs, the social safety net really needs to be reined in because of fraud. There's so much fraud happening. Keep that in mind as you watch this.
Only a parent should decide who can teach human sexuality to their child. The radical left is going crazy.
It's discriminatory. It's a form of bullying. It is horrific. I mean, the president has spoken to that.
They're calling my bill discrimination, but exposing your kids, kindergarten through 3rd grade, to complex sexual choices without informing the parents, that is not education. That is just manipulation.
That Florida Republican lawmaker, if you watch that, weren't really in favor of it, rubbed you the wrong way. I have good news for you. He's no longer a lawmaker in the state of Florida because he ended up committing fraud related to coronavirus relief funds. So who was that? Well, Joe Darling, who was a right-wing hero. He sponsored and authored the extremist Don't Say Gay bill in the state of Florida. And later he pleaded guilty to federal felony fraud related to a scheme to obtain COVID-19 relief funds. I love this. At first he claimed, I didn't do this, I'm not guilty, but he pleaded guilty because he is guilty. In fact, he has family members who also did this and ended up facing the consequences as well. Prosecutors allege Harding lied to the Small Business Administration in order to obtain a loan intended for companies impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. He later similarly filed a fraudulent application for the Economic Injury Disaster Loan in the name of a dormant business he previously owned. Harding was charged in a December federal indictment with 6 counts of wire fraud, money laundering, and making false statements in his plot to obtain $150,000 in COVID funds. He resigned from the legislature the following day. He originally pled not guilty, but clearly he is guilty and later did plead guilty.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing. It's weird and it's also unexpected because from watching that clip of him, you'd assume he's some sort of genius. That you could, and why do I say that? Because, do you have any idea how much successful fraud there was?
I know, in the state of Florida, by the way.
How do you get caught?
Rick Scott.
Billions of dollars of fraud, and he managed to get caught.
I know.
It's like Dinesh D'Souza getting caught for campaign finance. People violate the law all the time in there. How do you do it so badly that they catch you?
No, the thing with Dinesh D'Souza, who is a convicted felon due to his role in campaign finance violations.
Important to remind people that.
It is really important to remind people of that. Like, in an environment where legalized bribery is like baked into the system, and it's actually pretty hard to break campaign finance laws. Like, it actually takes extra effort to break the law. And Dinesh D'Souza succeeded in that. So did Donald Trump, by the way, with the hush money payments. He's just amazing to me.
Yeah, well, and also I would say that I don't know this individual, I don't care after this segment, I'm never gonna think about them again, but it's it's just a great example of what this whole thing is about. So this guy who convinced a lot of conservatives in Florida that I'm a warrior for you because I'm gonna stop this teacher from showing porn on an iPad to a bunch of students or whatever. He doesn't care about that stuff. He wants money. He's in it for the corruption.
1000%.
And in particular, COVID funds. Remember, they didn't think we should have done any of this stuff with COVID, manufactured crisis and all that, but still, give me the money. I gotta have the money.
Yep. Okay, so this is my favorite part of the story. What did he do with the money that he stole from the federal government?
Oh no.
So he transferred more than, remember, this was like money meant to help small businesses that were struggling as a result of shutdowns and stuff. So he transferred more than $10,000 to his personal checkings account.
To buy gel or what?
I mean, looks like he is generous with the gel application on that hair, for sure. Yes, okay, another $10,000 for a credit card payment. He then sent another payment of more than $10,000 to a third-party business entity. Now, the former politician now awaits sentencing, and there will be a hearing for that on July 25th at the federal courthouse in Gainesville, Florida. US District Judge Alan Windsor will make the decision about the sentence, but he does face up to 20 years for the wire fraud 10 years for money laundering and 5 years for making false statements to authorities. Now, since he pled guilty, I'm guessing there's some sort of plea deal involved here. I don't know, we'll see what happens. If you're excited about the possibility of him spending decades in prison, don't get too excited. I'm sure he'll probably spend some time in jail, in prison, but I don't know if it's gonna be anywhere near as long as it could be.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe you'd assume that I'm biased, I'm mocking the guy or whatever. He should not spend decades in prison, that's crazy. I mean, prison, sure, not decades. That's crazy, right? That's crazy.
How many teachers have been terrorized by the garbage spewed by these disgusting politicians?
I understand that, but the sentences aren't supposed to be retribution.
Give them 35 years. No, I don't know. 35
it's for the
years.
actual crime.
Okay, you don't want me to be a judge. 35 years.
6 months.
No.
6 months seems bad, man. So I don't know.
6 months, you're not even gonna give this guy a year for defrauding US taxpayers?
You might be able to sway me to a year. I don't know. We got to bring back the Supreme Court.
Fine, I'll settle for a year, but I'm not doing this Mickey Mouse job of sentencing him 6 months.
He had credit card debt. See, people get buried in debt, and it leads to people get desperate, and they become Congress or state reps. And then they commit fraud.
You know, it's funny because
it's a vicious cycle.
People accuse me of being right wing for not wanting to be vicious to ordinary Republican voters because they're ordinary people, right? I think it's important to attack power. Okay, the elite, power structures, systems, that is where the ire should be directed toward. But look at John. Look at John.
Look at me.
Wanting to give this dirty Republican politician a slap on the wrist.
It's 6 months in prison, that seems rough.
No, but I do give you credit for being consistent and not being a hypocrite when it comes to reforming our criminal justice system. Okay, that's when you know that John's the real deal.
Thank you.
I'd like to see the guy in prison for 35 years. Anyway, moving on. I'm kidding, not 35, but
25. It's too much, it's too much.
No,
never
35
should serve
is
in office
insane.
Again, should never be a representative. But that's crazy.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't actually want him in prison for 35 years, but he should be banned from ever running for office, public office again. Now, Harding's December indictment followed a September guilty plea from his brother-in-law, Patrick Walsh, who did something similar. Harding's brother-in-law, Patrick Walsh, pleaded guilty to wire fraud and money laundering charges connected to his receipt of nearly $8 million in disaster relief funds.
He's the cool brother, because he went way harder on that.
Man, these
makes me jealous. I haven't done a lot, with my brothers in the last few years. We haven't gotten up to any fraud or anything together. They keep connected.
It seems like they're maybe even consulting with one another on how they can defraud the federal government of these incredibly important funds.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.